Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barakan bi Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, Instagram fam, friends and followers of as-Saafiy, and welcome to another episode of Revert Reflections. And we've been talking over the past few days, mentioning and reflecting upon some of the signs of Allah's existence. And we talked previously about the Quran being one of the greatest signs of Allah's existence. And today we'll talk about another sign, and that is creation itself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in presenting this sign and mentioning it to mankind as one of the clearest signs of His existence and His right to be worshipped alone, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah At-Tur, which is the 52nd chapter of the Quran, verses 35 to 36, He says, أَمْ خُلِقُوا مِنْ غَيْرِ شَيْءٍ أَمْ هُمُ الْخَالِقُونَ أَمْ خَلَقُوا السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ بَلْ لَا يُوقِنُونَ. He says, were they created from nothing? Or are they themselves the creators? Or did they create the heavens and the earth? Nay, they lack certainty. So these two ayat are extremely beautiful and they're extremely powerful in cogently establishing Allah's existence and His right to be worshipped alone, and refuting those who deny Allah's existence, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala basically says, we look at creation, and when we reflect upon how the creation came to be, there are basically three possibilities. There are three possible explanations, and only one of them is plausible. So He says, أَمْ خُلِقُوا مِنْ غَيْرِ شَيْءٍ. Were they created from nothing? Meaning that there was nothing, and suddenly, without the action of anyone, without someone or something making the creation, nothing just appeared, the creation just came from nowhere. There was no action that brought about the reaction that is creation, but rather creation just came from nowhere. It wasn't there at one moment, and the next moment it was there. And there was nothing that acted upon anything else to bring about this reaction that we see as creation. Now, we as human beings, we are wired to believe that whenever we see anything, no matter how trivial it is, we are wired to believe, we are conditioned to understand that it had to come from somewhere. Which is why whenever we see something that we like or we dislike, anything in existence, we ask questions about it. We say, for example, we see somebody with something and we say, where did you get it? Who manufactured it? Who engineered it? These are questions we ask, whether we ask them explicitly or we ask them implicitly. Naturally, we believe that things don't come from nothing. All things come from somewhere. And if a person had something as simple as a piece of chewing gum, and we asked, where did you get it? What company manufactured it? And that person said, it just appeared in my pocket. It came from nowhere. We would say that person is lying or that person is insane. We would refuse to accept that. If this is true for trivial things, it is even more true for creation. Creation could not come from nothing. It couldn't just poof and be, right? Someone had to what? Manufacture it, engineer it. It had to come from someplace. So that one is not plausible. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the second possible second possible explanation. He says, أَمْ هُمُ الْخَالِقُونَ. Or are they themselves the creators? Meaning they were nothing and they made themselves into something. When they didn't exist, they made themselves exist. Brothers and sisters, a thing that does not exist cannot create itself. It cannot bring itself into existence. This is not plausible. it doesn't exist, how can it make itself exist? Then Allah, He says, to drive home the point and make man reflect upon his inherent weakness, his inherent incapacity, his limited ability to do anything like what he sees around him, to bring something like what he sees around him of creation to existence. Allah says, Am khalaqu samawati wal ard, or did they, these humans who deny the existence of God, did they create the heavens and the earth? Man, brothers and sisters, Allah is saying, has to reflect and be honest with himself regarding his capability, which is extremely limited. We don't have the knowledge, we don't have the physical capability, we don't have the equipment or anything else we would need to create something like the heavens and the earth, to create a tree, to create a blade of grass, let alone the heavens and the earth. We don't have the ability, the knowledge, the know-how, the technological equipment to create anything like what Allah has created from nothing. These things had to be created by what? By someone far greater and more capable than ourselves, leaving the only plausible explanation for creation. It was created by Allah. It had to come from somewhere. It had to come from someone. Someone had to engineer it, to design it, to manufacture it. And the one who manufactured had to be someone far greater than ourselves, because we are the most superior creation. And we lack the ability to create anything close to what Allah has created. And so if this is the case, it had to be created by someone far greater than ourselves. Who is that? It is Allah. And so this is one of the greatest signs of Allah's existence and His right to be worshipped alone, is creation itself. More on this, brothers and sisters, in the coming days. Until then, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as always to bless your houses, to bless your spouses, to bless your families and your children, to bless your sources of livelihood and income. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless what remains of your day, to bless you and make you blessed wherever you may be. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to shower you with His blessings and to surround you with His protection. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.